Welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, where we look at the latest comics and other media featuring the Transformers. In this episode, we're reviewing Transformers number 26 from Skybound, and we have some news that is a revelation for some longtime fans. Today is Friday, November 14th, 2025, and this is episode 468 of Transmissions Alt Mode.
Welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, the podcast that I guess should have swapped out hosts after 6 episodes. I'm your host, Daryl, the Cybertronian Beast, and I'm joined by my excellent co-host, Jeremy.
Hey, how's it going? I think maybe after 24 episodes and then 6 episodes.
Yes. 24, then we swap somebody out. Then another 6, we change somebody else again. And then that's we're way behind here. We're at episode 468, so we need to change a bunch of people here.
Yeah.
Have by now we would have swapped ourselves back in, so we're good.
Right, yeah. I mean, Charles isn't here.
It's true. We have started this.
Well, how about we talk some Transformers?
You got it. First up, we got to thank our Donatreons. They are the lovely people who support us every single week. And if you'd like to become one, you can do so on our Patreon page. And you can get to that by going to transmissionspodcast.com/support. And if you do, you get all kinds of cool stuff like our bonus show, We Like Big Bots, and a bunch of other Patreon-only shows that have been done in the past that are also finished, like our Declassified show. And I can't remember the last time we did a Transmissions Extra. But
let's talk Transformers. The extra show wasn't exclusive to Patreon.
Yeah, but we haven't done one in a while, so they're all there too.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Let's Talk Transformers, that was something we did in the past too. Like we haven't done a lot of stuff in a while. So yeah. So there's a bunch of stuff. We Like Big Bots is just gonna join the Matrix and move on into the past. But what it has still yet to die is our Transformers Empire of Rust, our show run by our good friend Mike, who is the game master of that show, and he's been running this thing for like 3 years or more, or I can't remember. It's been a while.
It's been longer than 3 years. We're old.
But yeah, it's been going on for a while. That's why you don't see Mike here very often, because he's partial to doing this more often. So he's been doing Empire of Rust. So yeah, so he doesn't come on our show anymore because he's doing this. So yeah, but if you want to check that out, he's Empire of Rust. It's on episode I don't know. What is it? 148. 148. Yep. Yeah. The Book of Burrows. I don't know, it's probably some kind of video game reference or something. I don't know. Yeah. Anywho, moving on, we've got our fantastic sponsor, toyhacks.com, where if you use the code Sticky Discount, you can save 15% or not or more. I was going to say or more, but just 15% on your purchase. You can use it with your Robo Points, but cannot be combined with other discounts or promotions, which would include Black Friday, which is coming up. So good thing to remember if you're going to buy some stuff from Toy Hacks on Black Friday, the sticky discount code will not work. So be aware of that. Anywho, let's move on to the show with some comics news. All right, and first up this week, we have that Skybound's Transformers book, which we're going to talk about a little bit tonight, is got volume 5 in its trade paperback form is on Amazon for pre-order. So you can get a look at that. And that is the one that we are currently in right now. That includes Robert Kirkman on writing and Dan Mora as on art duties. So we are currently in this right now, but it has appeared already on Amazon for pre-order. So,
and the title of it is Generation 1. So it kind of tells you where we are in the story that they're wanting to tell.
Yeah. So take a look at that. If that's where you like to buy your comics and read them in chunks like that. It's expected for release on June 2nd, 2026. So, and we'll collect issues 25 to 30. All right. Next up, I think we talked about this. We were having some discussions about it, but if you don't know, here you go. Dan Mora, who's currently on art duties, will be leaving the Transformers book after 6 issues. So he took over art duties on issue 25, and he will be leaving on issue 30. So, yeah. He
is going DC exclusive next year, and he said he's going to put all of his energy into just one book for DC. So if you've been enjoying his art, I mean, he is just an amazing artist. So I'm happy that we have him for at least, the 6 issues we're getting.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that it's DC because they suck.
That'll be the
Marvel's not much better right now. Marvel's not that much better now. If you're new to the show, Jeremy's Mr. DC and I'm Mr. Marvel. And Charles, we don't know what Charles is into. Transformers. Charles is into Transformers.
He's into the Marvel Transformers, like the 80s.
Yeah, really early stuff. But Jeremy's very much Superman, and I'm very much Spider-Man. So, yeah. Whose team are you on?
Hey, we're getting a crossover next year.
Yeah. 6'7". 6'7". What are you into? Anywho, that's all for comics news. But we got ourselves a comic to talk about. Jeremy is going to take us through Transformers number 26.
Yes. And this was written by Robert Kirkman, as we just said, and art by Dan Mora. Colors by Mike Spicer. Letters are by Russ Wooten, and editor was Ben Abernathy. So the books, and this is a spoiler-filled review. So if you're, they came out this week. So if you want to wait and come back after you've read it, feel free. The book begins where the last book ended with Thundercracker. He's in a panic and he's firing on Wheeljack and Jazz. He demands to know where the ship took him, and he blames the Autobots for their ship corrupting Skywarp's teleportation power. Jazz tries to calm Thundercracker down with a punch to the face, but his rage continues as he continues to yell about being sent back to where he just went or somewhere worse. Then he screams death to the Autobots. Wheeljack tackles Thundercracker, but Thundercracker is too strong and he tosses Wheeljack against the wall. And then Thundercracker tries to freeze Skywarp. But Skywarp and Wheeljack both say it's going to be fatal. Thundercracker claps his hands together to make a sonic boom, knocking the 2 Autobots to the ground, and then he has his blasters pointed at each one. Ultra Magnus rushes in, and he grabs each blaster and rips them off of Thundercracker's arms. He demands that Thundercracker quit, but Thundercracker says that he never will while his brother is in pain. Wheeljack tries to reason with him, saying that the pain was caused by Starscream, and if they had the resources, they would have tried to undo it. Thundercracker says he doesn't believe these Autobot lies, but then a voice behind him says that Wheeljack is speaking the truth. Optimus Prime has returned, and he tells Thundercracker that they did not take pleasure in seeing an enemy in the state that Thundercracker is in, but they would have repaired him if they had the ability to. Thundercracker still doesn't believe Optimus, but Optimus says that they now have the resources, and he swears that they will repair Skywarp. Ultra Magnus doesn't think this is wise, but he follows Optimus's order. However, he's keeping Thundercracker's blasters just in case. General Flag walks in, praising Optimus for his conflict resolution skills. Wheeljack's a little unnerved at seeing an unknown human walking into the Ark, but Optimus says he's an ally. He's going to be providing resources and some other gifts. Wheeljack is amazed to see helicopters hauling in Mirage and Bulkhead, as well as some crates of Energon. This changes Wheeljack's opinion of Flag immediately, and he offers to help rebuild Chicago using some of their own technology. Then Ultra Magnus takes a moment to quietly tell Optimus that he doesn't like Thundercracker being allowed to walk around freely. But Optimus says that if they treat him like a prisoner, he's going to think like a prisoner, but treating him like an ally might help him turn to their side. Wheeljack thinks that he's got just enough parts to get Teletran 1 working again, and he offers to repair Optimus. But Optimus says no. The ones that need repairs the most should get repaired first, starting with Skywarp. Wheeljack isn't so sure about that, but Optimus promised Thundercracker. He leaves Wheeljack to his work, and then he heads to the brig to offer Soundwave some raw Energon. Soundwave thinks this is a trick, and he's not going to be swayed to betray Megatron. Optimus says Soundwave seems to be pretty loyal to a group that left him to die, but he leaves Soundwave with the Energon regardless. In Chicago, Beachcomber is holding up some rubble as he's found some survivors underneath. Carly rushes over and tells the human that he's a friend and they need to follow her. But Beachcomber is losing his grip, and suddenly Shredhead rushes in to take the rubble off his hands. With the survivors being loaded onto a truck, Spike comes to Carly and asks how she's doing. And she asks how he's doing. He says he's doing okay, especially by seeing how much worse these other people have had it recently. Then the two hug, and he tells her that they're strong and they're going to get through this. And Carly looks at him and says that he sounds like Optimus. Nearby, RC is telling Shredhead that they're a welcome member of the team, and Shredhead says that they're excited to hear that coming from someone like RC. In the Shadow Watch underground base, Miles Mayhem is looking at a 3D scan of Optimus that includes watching how it converts to vehicle mode. He asks a scientist if this was sent to General Flag yet, and he said that it was in the database, but the report hasn't been sent yet. Mayhem said, good, the fewer people that know, the better, and then he shoots the scientist dead. On Cybertron, Elita 1 is telling Cliffjumper that he needs to go on a mission to Decepticon territory to redeem himself. He says he did nothing wrong and he was helping Optimus and the Autobots on Earth. Elita doesn't want to hear about Earth. She needs the parts to repair the space bridge, and he says he'll get them, not to redeem himself, but because he hopes Optimus can talk some sense into her. Nearby, an almost destroyed Cup cries out for Elita, and she comforts him and tells him to save his strength. Back at the Ark, Skywarp has been repaired. He doesn't have the memories of his time merged with Teletran 1, and he immediately attacks the Autobots. Thundercracker tries to talk some sense into him, but Skywarp calls him a traitor. When he runs across Soundwave tells him that Megatron has returned and he needs to escape while he can. Thundercracker tries one more time to get Skywarp to stay, but seeing that Thundercracker won't come back to his side, Skywarp transforms and blasts out of the Ark. Ultra Magnus asks Optimus about Thundercracker, but before Optimus can reply, Thundercracker says that he's chosen his side and he's where he belongs. On the Nemesis, Megatron is shocked by how little Energon his forces have found. They've searched everywhere, but they've only found a few cubes. Megatron says it's barely enough to repair himself, let alone the rest of his forces. But Longhaul tells him that there's a human energy plant nearby. Maybe they can overtake it. But before he can reply, Megatron is suddenly on his knees in pain and screaming. To be continued. So this was a beefy book in terms of content. It was like a good fight at the beginning and kind of in the middle, but then just lots of exposition and very wordy. But I enjoyed it from the most part. The art was fantastic. As we were talking about Dan Mora, I'm really enjoying his art here. I like how you see the contrast between Optimus and Megatron, where Optimus is focusing on repairing everyone accept him first. And then when we see Megatron, his first thought is, this is barely enough energon to repair me. So he would obviously have himself repaired first. I thought that was a great kind of dichotomy. I do wish that there was a little bit more action throughout the book, but I do like the plot movement. The scene with Carly and Spike, I like that. The Elita One stuff was also, moving that story along. And as a contrast to Void Rivals, I feel like Kirkman is doing a better job juggling the multiple storylines in this book than in Void Rivals. And it as I was finishing the book, I was like, wait, this is also a Kirkman book. And, you're getting your main A plot, you're getting a big chunk, and then like a B plot, you're getting a smaller chunk, but your kind of C and D plots, you get a page kind of keeping them moving, but it doesn't seem as unsatisfying as it does in Void Rivals. So I thought that was interesting. And I don't know if the Decepticons are going to go after the energy plant. That seems like a callback to the G1 episode. Seems like, I don't know if that was just kind of thrown in there as a little Easter egg, but the Megatron in pain is clearly going to be related to that Dark Matrix stuff. So see where that goes. But on the whole, I enjoyed it. It was a little bit slow. I'm hoping we're going to get more action before Dan Moore is off the book. But Daryl, what were your thoughts on it?
I liked it. I thought the book was fairly well paced. I think we're still in the area where Kirkman is kind of trying to pick up all the threads left by Daniel Warren Johnson. And, Johnson's run was incredibly action-packed. So he's trying to continue that, but also for Robert Kirkman, he wants to slow it down because he doesn't write as well as I don't think as well as Daniel Warren Johnson does as far as action goes. So he needs to slow down the pace so that he can get his exposition through. But I agree with you on the C and D plots feeling more fulfilling, because I think the art is better. You can look at the pages that are showing these C and D plots, and you can gather so much more information from just looking at them.
Yeah,
you can look at the page with Alita and Cliffjumper on Cybertron, and you can see that, yeah, she's talking with Kup, who's beat to hell, but you can also see Huffer and what was it? Cosmos was in there.
Yeah.
And I think there was two others in there. I can't remember.
There's a female bot in the background.
Yes. Green Light or something like that I think was in there. Yeah. And, and Perceptor is sitting right there as well. So you can see that they're in hard times, right? So it's an interesting, you mentioned dichotomy between Optimus and Megatron. Well, what about Optimus and Alita's situation? Optimus has become this very, the tables have turned between him and Megatron, where he's now flush with energon, right? He's got more energon than he could use in a lifetime, right? Plus, he's got this partner that wants to work with him, and it seems everything's coming up Millhouse for Optimus here. And Lita's sitting here, and she's still, she still needs help, right? And a lot of it. So, there's these one page, C and D storylines, are really satisfying because the art is simply fantastic. I will critique the art. It's been a long time because the last artist, Jorge Corona, was able to start to draw the insignias. Well, Dan Moore is not drawing the insignias, and I'm going to harp on it again. They stand out like a sore thumb. So, Yeah. So I'm just gonna say it because it's something that I notice. You know, you can definitely tell when they're using a stamp. So yeah. Anyway, I think it's funny that when they take away Thundercracker's weapons, they rebuild Skywarp, wipe his memory, but give him his weapons.
Yeah.
So, I think that's a poor choice. You think Ultra Magnus is there. I've got Thundercracker's weapons, but we're rebuilding Skywarp. I don't care. Let him have his weapons. He's fine. Oh, we've wiped his memory, so he has no idea what we've been doing. So he's just going to think that he's woken up in the Autobots base. Oh, that's fine. He can have his weapons. It's cool.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they wiped his memory or if it was just part
of the process.
Part of the process, yeah. But I do think it was kind of a convenient reset for that character. It's maybe
but I do
now
think
we're going to get
also
Bumblebee back.
It's possible, right? Yeah. But I also think that Thundercracker seemed to give up on Skywarp a little too easily, right?
Yeah.
Thundercracker's been hiding out in this base for a while, and he just took on, at the beginning of this book, he took on the Autobots to save Skywarp, and Skywarp wakes up, and he's like, F you guys, I'm out of here, right? And leaves, and then Thundercracker's just like, yeah, well, he's fine. He's, he picked his side, I'm going to pick mine. Like, no, you go after him, man.
Yeah, that was a little bit unsatisfying. I was thinking the same, but
yeah.
So Thundercracker, though, his characterization in the original toy, and I think in IDW, he basically became good or just was tired of fighting. Mm-hmm. So maybe they were going to rush him down that path.
Yeah. No, I agree. I wholeheartedly think that Kirkman is slowing this book down, because it was absolutely flying for 24 issues. And I had no problem with it. I loved it. It was fight after fight after fight, and I couldn't get enough of it. But now that Kirkman's on it, he is going to absolutely put the brakes on and let it slow it right down. Well, he's going to build some story up here, because there really wasn't a whole lot of story going on with Daniel Warren Johnson's stuff. So
another neat thing was the Miles Mayhem scene. Clearly, we're going to be getting the M.A.S.K vehicles, and the images of Optimus on that page are just gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
You get the robot, and then the half transformed, and then the cab.
Yep. He's been, this one page has been this illustrates what Transformers fans have been talking about for decades, about why the M.A.S.K vehicles are not part of the are not integrated with Transformers, or why they're not more closely related. We get G.I. Joe and Transformers all the time. We've had it since the very beginning, and we're like, the M.A.S.K vehicles are basically Transformers. Why are we not, they're owned by the same company. Why are we not, putting them in the same, the same thing here? So, it's this one page is like, yes, I see the potential here. Right. And
And then also after the last issue, we were wondering if Flag and Mayhem were working together secretly, kind of working against Optimus. And this one page clearly lets you know Flag is, he might have his own plans, but Mayhem is clearly the bad guy, and Flag doesn't know everything Mayhem is wanting to do.
Yep.
So between this and then getting what's his name, the Matt Tracker in the G.I. Joe book, looking forward to seeing what M.A.S.K is going to happen. I would guess Free Comic Book Day next year is going to be another M.A.S.K thing.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
Cool. All right. Well, you have any other thoughts?
Just one, and this is more of a outside of the issue, kind of more of a comic book collector thing, because I am a bit of a comic book collector. I have a lot of comic books, and with the Energon universe doing so well, and the announcement of the adult animation show that is going to be happening. You guys talked about it last week or whatever. Whenever it was announced, you guys talked about it. The Transformers book, the original Transformers Marvel #1, and the G.I. Joe Marvel #1, they've been doing really well in the collector market for a very, very long time since this Energon universe stuff took off. So they've been a little bit harder to obtain because the values have been going up and up and up as far as, being a comic book collector. This issue is indicating that people should be out there looking to buy a M.A.S.K #1. So the first appearance of M.A.S.K in comic book form is a comic book. I believe it's also Marvel. So you can pick that one of those up. It shouldn't nearly be as much as Transformers or G.I. Joe, but you should be able to find one of those and pick it up, because these M.A.S.K books are going to absolutely blow up, especially if they show up in the animation show that is like Invincible. Everything associated with Invincible is exploding right now. So if this is going to be even close, then it's going to be similar. It's a DC book. Yep, that's it. Yeah, so there you go. So that's the one you want to find. And there should be a newsstand and there should be a regular one. That's the direct edition. But find that book. Get it in high grade if you want. If you're a collector, if you don't care, then who cares? But if you're a comic book collector, this book here on the screen is going to absolutely explode.
Awesome.
But that's it for the comic book review. We're going to move on to our media news.
All right, and the first thing we have here is I alluded to this in the toy show in my trips to the store, but if you were a fan back in the mid 2000s, where Transformers Prime, around that era, it was called the Align Continuity. It was supposed to basically be a overarching kind of set of events that happened regardless whether you're watching the live action movies, TV shows, games. I mean, they all had their own takes on it, but the continuity kind of had its own Bible that told it, like, there were the 13 primes and then, Unicron and all this stuff. And the entire binder of Revolution has now been released. I'm not sure officially because the link is a mega.nz link. So usually not official things aren't released that way, but there's a TFW 2005 link here that has it. If you want to check it out, it is pretty cool. It is very, very big. I have, I think all we have here is the first image, but I got it here just to look. It's only like about 30 megabytes, but it's 352 pages in this, and I'm not sure if we're going to get in trouble showing it, so I'm not going to show it. But like I mentioned in the toy show, the Covenant of Primus book was heavily influenced by this. So that was basically all we had until now. But it's just really cool. So I would definitely check it out while it's still online and get a copy of it. It's a PDF and just looks, it's not just pictures. It's like fully written out, like text. Daryl, you'll hate it.
I will.
But anyway, I just think it's really cool and wanted to bring that up. So if you're into it, check it out. The next thing we have, find my tab here, is and Daryl, you've talked about this before. Paul Davids has a huge collection of stuff from his time writing for the G1, and the Sunbow and Marvel script storyboard archive has now his full collection, G1 outlines, scripts, storyboards, models, more stuff. I know, Daryl, you were talking about at TFCon, you met the guy that's doing the Cosmic Rust, like restoring some lost scenes from the film. So this is basically all of his other stuff that we saw at TFCon when he was there. But here's a link to it now that just getting a lot of original stuff, just adding to the awesome Sunbow Marvel archive. So check that out if you're into these original scripts. I mean, here you see like this is Chaos script written by Paul David, edited by Flint Dilley. That's pretty cool. So check that out. That's just really cool that we're getting all this stuff, and the Sunbow and Marvel archive, just they do a great job, and I'll shout them out because it's great that a group is so passionate about getting all this stuff archived before it's lost.
Yeah. Very awesome. Right on. Yeah, no, Paul Davids has so much stuff, and like you were saying, and I showed it a little bit while you were talking, is the Save Cosmic Rust. We talked about it a little bit before. So there's a couple of frames from the show. If you were at TFCon Canada in 2022, he was there, and he was selling off frames of the show, Cosmic Rust.
Cutting it up.
Just cutting it up. And yeah, so I have a couple of them sitting right here, and I have them in a little top loader. So yeah, so basically, he was just cutting them up and selling them like that. And now there are frames missing from the show. What he discovered, what the gentleman found that's doing this, is that there are animated scenes from the show that didn't make the show, that were cut out. Basically he's trying to put together the uncut scenes, or sorry, the cutout scenes, and restore the Cosmic Rust to its full length. So
they have the scenes in the script, and they just thought it was never animated, and discovered that it was animated.
It was animated, and we have the vocal recordings now too, because of the Sunbow archives. We have all that stuff, so we have all the voice tracks for all this stuff. So, which is crazy because a lot of the voice actors are starting to pass away, unfortunately. So it's nuts that we have all this stuff, and we just need the animation now, which has been started to get cut apart. So yeah. But yeah, I talked to him at TFCon Chicago, and he said he showed me a bunch of the edits that he's been able to start putting together, and it looks crazy. It looks awesome that he's got some of this now. So yeah, it's very cool, very, very cool. And to find out that one of the pieces that I have is part of the animation that was cut out is very, very cool. So yeah,
great.
All right, so from there, we're going to move on to feedback. All right, and we are going to end the show with a couple pieces of feedback from YouTube, and they are from our episode 6, would be 467, I guess, or unless these were from 660. Oh, okay. Is
Six,
this
seven.
these were on the toy show?
I don't know. Let's see. No, this is actually from 466.
466.
If you look at the timestamps.
What are you doing?
It's almost like his mind was on something else.
I know. What are you doing, Charles? This is ridiculous. So yeah, it's from our good friend Stuart 118 Tyler, and he has mentioned here. He's like at one of the timestamps. He's like, I guess that counts as a pants rant. God, I love this show. Awesome. I'll have to check that out because I mean I experience so many pants rants that they start to blend together.
And this was the episode where we reviewed Cold Slither.
Oh, I wasn't even on this one. So yeah, I have to definitely I definitely have to check it out. Yeah. And then later on in the episode, Stuart 118 Tyler mentions most artists tend to be cool. One day I'll tell you about the time my mom had to shove a certain Spawn artist in the Orange Julius machine at a comic show in New York back in the day. I kid you not.
That seems like a story that I want to hear.
Yeah. Shove a Spawn artist. There's been so many, but back in the day, that limits it quite a bit. Into an Orange Julius machine. So like into the machine that makes the Julius slop. What? That's not juice. We've all had it. It's not juice. No. But or did she just push him into the machine, like back away from me, Spawn artist?
And he got the orange slop all over him.
Yeah. Anyway, now I need to hear this. All right, Stuart, let's go. Voicemail time. All right. Anyway, thank you very much for your feedback, Stuart 118 Tyler. And we now want a voicemail for that story. Thank you. Make it happen. But with that, oh no, we got one more. This is from our Discord, and it is from Mechadino, and he says, just curious about something. When you read a comic, if new or older, how do you read it? Do you tend to do something different with newer books and something for older? If you read older books, do you use gloves? Have a specific mat or anything you might read on? Do you clean your hands extremely well beforehand? Do you be sure to not have any food or drinks nearby? Please share anything you do or try to do. Well, as probably the one on the show with the oldest comic books, I have one from 1948. Jeremy, can you beat it?
No.
Okay.
I have some from the 60s.
Yeah, I got a lot of those, but 48 is my earliest, and it's a DC book.
Well, 48 would probably have to be a DC book.
Yeah. It is a Marvel Family book. It's got Marvel in the name.
Of the Captain variety.
Yes. Yeah. So anyway, with that book, actually, I mean,
that wouldn't be a DC book.
It's pretty old, so it may not have been
that was before,
DC at the time.
Was it who owned Captain Marvel? That wasn't DC. That wasn't Charlton either, was it?
No.
But it wasn't DC.
You figure that out. I'm going to answer Mechadino's question. But with regards to old books, I don't read them. So if it's a book that is older and I want to read, I will then read it online. I don't feel bad about searching out a digital copy of it if I already own the book. I've crossed the threshold of owning it, so I now can go out and find a digital copy, and I can do it guilt-free because I own the book already. So I don't feel bad about that. Especially if it's really old. If it's really old, I feel even less guilt. And if it's a valuable book that I own that's old, like I have a giant-sized X-Men #1, I will not read that book. But that book also offers the opportunity to read reprints. So that book will have been reprinted. It's been reprinted a bunch, right? So I will read those. Or, again, if it hasn't been reprinted, I'll search out a digital copy and read that. If I own it, there's no guilt. So that's how I do it with that. I don't bother with gloves. I don't bother with mats. I don't bother with any of that stuff. If I buy a brand new book off the shelf and I bring it home, I'll just read it, right? If I've just eaten Taco Bell and I have it all over my face and hands, I'm not going to read my comic books, right? I'm not an idiot. I'm not going to grab something like pictures with messy hands. I'm going to wash my hands first. But, I'm not overly sensitive about the comic books. I've had comics in the past that I've read that are brand new. I've read them and my hands are hot, and I've taken my hands off. I've finished it and I've have ink on my hands, and I've looked at the covers and there's a smear. So it happens. And it's just the way it is. Right. So, but I'm not the kind of guy who's going to fuss over gloves and shit like that.
Yeah.
Like I said, if I'm going to do something, I'm just going to read it digitally. Jeremy.
Yeah. Well, first off, it's Fawcett Comics.
Okay.
They had Captain Marvel until 1953 when basically they went out of business and sold, and DC bought the rights in the 70s. Or I guess they stopped publishing and then DC bought the rights in the 70s. There's probably some really good podcasts about the history of comics that go into all this. It's really cool. But in terms of like when I want to read an old comic, usually I will go online. I subscribe to the DC, what do they call it? DC, DC Universe Online. Infinite, whatever. They've renamed it a couple times, but I subscribe to that. So I can read almost any DC book going back as long as they have it on the archive. And they have they have most of them. And then, like you said, a lot of them have been reprinted. I like to buy a lot of the facsimile reprints. So no issues just reading that, but sometimes I will go back to some of my books from, that I got, in the 90s when I first started collecting, and I'll just read through those. I'm kind of anal about washing my hands anyway, just, so I don't really worry too much. I'm not going to be eating while I'm reading an old book. I might be eating while I'm reading a new book. Maybe I'll, go to the comic store, pick up lunch, come home. But I don't try to have greasy hands on the comics. I'm clean in that respect. I don't do white gloves. If I had a comic that was worth money that would, white gloves would be something that you would think about with it, then that'd be different, but I don't own anything that valuable. So yeah, in general, I just, keep my hands clean, and, there is something about the smell of the paper from some of those old books. And I do enjoy getting some of those because the paper has changed. It's
called mold,
different.
Jeremy. It's moldy.
Well, it's not mold. It's the paper that they used had a different smell than the paper they use now. So anyway, that's it. I mean, I haven't in a while because all my books are downstairs, but I do like to occasionally go back to some of my old books and read them. The 90s was a great time.
Oh, it was. Yeah. Yeah. I haven't reread a lot of my old books. I don't really spend the time doing that, but I enjoy flipping through them. I've just recently renovated an area of my house to give me a comic room. Because I have so many comics, I needed them to have their own space. And every now and then I'll grab a box. It's all just for short boxes, but I'll grab a box, put it on the table, and just flip through them and be like, oh, yes, this was a banger. Love this cover.
You shouldn't call it your comic room. You should call it your library.
It is a library. Yeah. There's an awful lot of books in there.
Yeah. And also we should mention the Kickstarter for the Skybound stuff. So like I have basically all the Marvel Transformers stuff digitally right now. And then I will have physical versions when they ship that sometime in December. And I wouldn't have any issues just cracking those open and reading them because it's all new paper, new stuff.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I hope that answers your question, Mechadino. Read your comics however way you want. Just read them. Yeah. Right? And enjoy them. And if they're valuable, great. If they're not, great. It's a nice bonus when they are, but they're not really made originally to be valuable. They're made to entertain you. So I hope that they satisfy that, and that if they become valuable, fantastic.
If you don't
bank on it.
If you do get an old comic that is you're getting it specifically because it's a valuable book. No shame on not reading that. But like Daryl said, I mean, if you're buying a book like that, find it online. I mean, I feel like I agree with you. No shame in getting a digital version of, a really valuable old comic.
Yeah. Yes. Plus the older they get, the more delicate they are. And it's it gets really like 1948 was a very long time ago. And it's getting to the point where like the paper starts to crumble if you touch it. So
the paper quality wasn't that good.
It wasn't. No. So,
because like you said, they were meant to be read and tossed.
Oh yeah. Especially at that point. Yeah. So anyway, that's all that we've got for this week though, Jeremy. So before we go, I want to make sure that we send a shout out to our Masterpiece Donatreons. Thank you to John Forex Levengood, who it's getting a little long since he sent in a voicemail. So John, what up with that? How you doing? How's things? Drop us a line. And Steve C, anytime you want to drop us a line, Steve C, the operators are standing by. So yeah, but thanks to our Masterpiece Donatreons. These guys, they really step up. And like I said at the top of the show, anybody can be a Donatreon. Just go to transmissionspodcast.com/support. And that's it. That's going to do it for the show. Thanks, Jeremy, for hanging out and talking Transformers with me.
Yep. It's fun. Like and subscribe.
And hype us. Hype us up. Yeah, got to do that. Hype. Yeah. So have a good week, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Transmissions. If you'd like to join the conversation, travel to our Discord channel at transmissionspodcast.com/Discord. Want some cool transmission swag? Feast your eyes on our transmissions gear at transmissionspodcast.com/shop. If you'd like to support our podcast, go to transmissionspodcast.com/support or tell your friends about our show. We'll see you next time.